Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing fine. Great. My name is Marcio Kotz, and I would appreciate if you guys could just give me a feedback. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Use the chat. Okay. We are going to wait 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll start just to let everybody join us. Great. Thank you, Sanjeev. Okay, guys, I would appreciate if you could share with me, um, send me a feedback if you can hear me. Great. Hello, guys. Welcome. So we'll start in a couple of minutes. Hey, guys, send your name, type your name, where you were from. That would be great. We could start interacting a little bit. Today, we are going to talk about privacy by design. And definitely it's one of the major topics on data privacy. Privacy by design is something extremely important for anyone who wants to work with data privacy. So we are going to talk about the 7 principles of privacy by design. I don't know if any of you know, but ISO is working on a new standard for privacy by design. It's going to take a while until we have the final version of this new ISO. So until we don't have this new ISO on privacy by design, that will take, I guess, 1 year, 1.5 years till we get this final version. We'll still use the 7 principles of privacy by design. And then that's pretty much what we are going to talk about today. Okay, very good. Well, I think we can start. So I'm going to share with you my presentation. Hopefully you guys can see the presentation that's about privacy by design. And that's pretty much what we are going to talk about today. So we don't want to waste time, so let's move forward. So the concept of data protection or privacy by design is to be able to demonstrate compliance with the regulation. The GDPR stipulates that the controller must adopt internal policies and implement measures that meet, in particular, the principles of data protection by design and data protection by default. So the GDPR shows you, stipulates, and it's a must, it's mandatory to demonstrate compliance, and that the controller must adopt internal policies and implement any measure to meet the 7 principles of privacy by design. So some examples of measures: minimizing processing, pseudo-anonymization, creating transparency regarding processing by design and by default. So privacy by design advances the view that the future of privacy cannot be guaranteed just by complying with the regulatory frameworks. Instead, ensuring privacy should ideally become an organization standard mode of operation. So privacy by design helps a lot the DPO, the data protection officer, in changing the corporate culture, the culture of the organization regarding privacy by design. Because once you apply privacy by design, on every new project. It means that privacy will make part of that project, that new project. And by doing that, you make every area involved in the project to take privacy into consideration right from the beginning of this new project. So when developing and designing products, service, or applications, the principles of privacy by design must be observed. And by doing that, every professional in the organization who will be involved in this new project will start considering privacy as something important right from the beginning of any new project. So by applying the 7 principles of privacy by design, definitely it's going to be a great tool to change the organization's culture in order to the organization start considering privacy as one of the most important things in any project. And also, by doing that, you also will help the organization to not waste money, because if you don't apply privacy by design right from the beginning of this new project, it means that at certain point you will have to take to consider privacy. And if you don't do that right from the beginning of the project, it means that you will have to adapt the project. And most of the time, when you need to adapt something because you didn't consider that issue right from the beginning of the project, probably will make the organization spend more money than you have planned right from the beginning. So this would be the second most important reason why applying privacy by design, by default, is important. Here is an example of a privacy by design structure framework. It's just one framework, but right from the beginning, you should consider, first of all, if you are going to process personal data in that new product or in that new service or new application or new procedure, if you are going to process personal data, and if the GDPR or even the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, applies, or even the LGPD, the Brazilian general the protection data protection law, that means that you could definitely apply the 7 principles of privacy by design. So if any data privacy regulation applies, then you should choose considering the 7 principles of privacy by design. By this framework, the first step would be data minimization. So you should only gather data that is strictly necessary and delete unnecessary data immediately. And regarding documentation, you should have a description of the purpose of that data processing and list of the list of necessary data for that purpose. Second thing that you should consider in a project applying privacy by design is what we call pseudo anonymization. So removal of all directly identifying elements, hashing, or even using encryptation would definitely help with privacy by design. And encryptation is the third step here right away that would consider also information security standards and policy in your project. Regarding access control, digital data vault, physical access controls, logical access controls, authentication, and authorization should be the things that you should consider regarding access control in any project regarding privacy by design. Then you should consider data protection by default. So privacy-friendly settings as default setting should be important in your project. So transparent user interface, permission management would be things necessary in your project to consider privacy by design. So data protection by default, that pretty much means that you are going to have all the private settings by default, and it should be up to the user, the data subject, to change the privacy setting that would come with the product or the service by default. Deletion and restriction terms. So automated deletion would be something interesting in your project. So let's take as an example, if you are going to provide a new service, we should consider when we are going to delete the data that we've been processing during the time that we are providing that service. Would be something that we would recommend as one of the best practice. Or if it's a new product, let's say that you work with IoT, Internet of Things, at a certain point you need to delete all the data that the machine, that the device has processed, mostly because that would be definitely also good practice. One more example of best practice of privacy by design is facilitate rights of data subject. So privacy dashboard, privacy communication, and privacy support would be something also very important. So if you are going to work on a new project of a new smart TV, the smart TV should have now one section of rights of data subjects. So they would have a dashboard. The user, the data subject, would have a private dashboard on this new smart TV, and they would be able to manage that dashboard in order to exercise their data privacy rights. So those are just good practices that we recommend in any privacy by design project. But now let's talk a little bit about the 7 principles of privacy by design, because this is just a framework. This is just an example. This is just something that we recommend in order to be more practical when you are working on a privacy by design project. But you can add some other actions, some other things that you can do to try to cover any of these 7 principles. So this framework here helps you to cover most of these principles, but definitely you can add some other measures to cover any of these 7 principles. And here are the 7 privacy by design principles. Proactive, not reactive. Preventive, not remedial. This would be the first. The second principle, data protection as default setting. Third principle, privacy embedded into design. 4, full functionality. It's what we call positive sum, not zero sum. Number 5, end-to-end security, full life cycle protection. Number 6, visibility and transparency, keep it open. And number 7, respect for user privacy, keep it user-centric. So let's go over each one of these principles. I don't need to tell you guys, feel free to answer as many questions, to ask as many questions as you want. At the end of our presentation here, we'll go over your questions and I'll be more than glad to answer those questions, okay? So principle number 1, proactive, not reactive. Preventive, not remedial. So you as a DPO, a data protection officer, as a data privacy consultant, as a data privacy professional, you need to help the company to be proactive. You need to be preventive. You need to take care of the data subject, of the consumer privacy, right from the beginning, right from scratch, right from the beginning of the project. The data protection by design approach is characterized by proactive rather than reactive measures. It anticipates and prevents privacy invasive events before they happen. Data protection by design does not wait for privacy risks to materialize, nor does it offer remedies for solving privacy infractions once they have occurred. It aims to prevent them from occurring instead. So we need to think what kind of data privacy incident the data subject would face in using that product, in being part of your customers group and taking your service. So we would have to imagine what kind of data privacy risks would happen during those circumstances. So even applications, let's say that you are an user experience professional. It's not only about the front end and the back end of how users use your application, but also now as a user experience professional, you need to take privacy into consideration when you are thinking about a new website, a new application, new app, or things like that. So being proactive means that you need to anticipate any kind of a privacy infraction that would happen. And of course, you need to come up with solutions in order to change the product, the application, and even how you are going to provide a service to remediate, to mitigate the risks. A second principle, data protection as the default setting. We can all be certain of one thing, the default rule. Data protection by design seeks to deliver the maximum degree of privacy by ensuring that personal data are automatically protected in any given IT system or business practice. So data protection by default means that all settings would consider data protection by default. So once you sell a product, all the settings should consider data protection by default. So you shouldn't wait for the data subject, for the consumer to set all the features to protect the individual's personal data. That would be by default. So privacy and data protection are built into the system by default. If the consumer wants to not use some data protection setting, it's up to the data subject, it's up to the consumer. But the product, the service, the application should be with should have all the data protection settings on by default. Okay, let's for example, let's take as an example some surveillance camera. We know that most of the cameras, especially the ones that are uh, residential surveillance camera, their password are weak passwords by default. It's 1111234, things like that. And anyone who works with information security or cyber security knows that those cameras are not protected by default. The consumer should change the camera password to have a stronger password. But if you apply privacy by design, considering this principle of data protection as the default setting, you should have a strong password right from the beginning. Okay? Next principle, privacy embedded into design. We should consider also the design as something that would have to take privacy into consideration. Data protection by design is embedded into the design and the architecture of the IT systems and business products practice, or even products. It's not bolted on as an add-on after the fact. The result is that privacy becomes an essential component of the core functionality being delivered. Let's take as an example ATM machines. Some of them, they consider privacy, embedded into the design of the ATM. But some of them, it doesn't consider privacy embedded into the design. And if you are using the ATM, the people around you would be able to access your personal data. Another example, for any of you who have visited Amsterdam, the city of Amsterdam, knows that some public restrooms in the city just covers the front of the person who is using that restroom. So definitely that restroom, that bathroom doesn't consider privacy embedded into the design. Okay. Next principle, full functionality, positive sum, not zero sum. This principle means pretty much that privacy by design seeks to accommodate all legitimate interests and objectives in a positive sum, win-win manner, not through a zero-sum approach where unnecessary trade-offs are made. At the end of the day, this principle means that we as DPOs, as data privacy professionals, we need to take care of the individual's privacy, but we cannot eliminate any functionality of the product or the service. It's not a zero sum. It should be a positive sum. So it should be a win-win. So we need to take and do our best, actually, to try to protect the individual's privacy without taking out of the product, out of the service, any feature that we want this service, this product, this application to have. So, so that's why we, as data privacy professional, we need also to be creative, and we need to learn and understand and have some different knowledges outside, besides only data privacy. For example, if you are the DPO of a very innovative company, IBM, Apple, Fujitsu, those companies are innovative. They have a lot of new projects, of new products. And now you as a DPO will be involved as a data privacy professional. You will be involved in this project right from scratch. And we don't want to see a conflict of interest between the product engineer and the data privacy professional, because they have different interests. There is no different interests. Everybody's working on the same project. So we need to be a team and work as a team in a win-win manner. Okay? Next, end-to-end security, full life cycle protection. Data protection by design, having been embedded into the system prior to the first element of information being collected, extends securely throughout the entire life cycle of the data involved. That means strong security measures are essential to privacy. It doesn't make sense if the product lawfully process the data, but there is a data leak. A hacker would invade the device. It doesn't make sense. So end-to-end security is mandatory. That's why the device needs to be protected. Okay? This ensures that all data are secured, retained, and then secured, destroyed at the end of the process in a timely fashion. Thus, data protection by design ensures that the life cycle management of the information end-to-end is secure. Very good. Next principle, visibility and transparency. Keep it open. If we are talking about a product, we need transparency. Data protection by design seeks to assure all stakeholders that whatever the business practice or technology involves, it's in fact operating accordingly to the stated promises and objectives, subject to independent certification. So a product should be able to be audited, and it should be able to go through independent verifications. So the DPA, the Data Protection Authority, should be able to identify if that product is actually delivering everything that the company said that it would regarding data privacy. So that's why it states that the principle states keep it open, because trust needs to be verified. Another principle, respect of user privacy. Keep it user-centric. Above all, data protection or privacy by design requires architectures and operators to keep the interests of the individuals uppermost by offering such measures as strong privacy defaults, appropriate notice, and empowering user-friendly options. So keep it user-centric. Okay, so we've been teaching, myself, I've been teaching a lot of engineers, user experience professionals, software engineers, website developers, application developers, because now they want to understand and know how to apply privacy by design. It's something that the most experienced professionals have never seen this before, because this is something new, so they want to learn more about it. And even DPOs or CPOs, chief privacy officers, they want to get specialized in privacy by design because they want to get involved in the company's new projects. So this is something very important, because makes the data privacy officer to become someone very important in the organization. So here are just some examples of the challenges that we would face in applying different principles. For example, the principle of proactivity, not reactivity. The traditional approach is reactive. So changing that requires leadership and cultural change. The introduction of corporate architecture can support this process. So applying privacy by design is a challenge by itself, because it starts from changing the company's culture in order to make the C-level understand that applying privacy by design in every project is something mandatory nowadays, especially for companies who have to comply with the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, because as we saw at the beginning of our presentation, it's a legal obligation nowadays. If your company needs to comply with the CCPA, for example, the California Consumer Privacy Act, definitely privacy by design would be best practice nowadays. Another example, data protection as default setting. So, for example, using specialized policies like less privileges, I need to know, less confidence, are some examples. Privacy embedded into design. For hardwares, for example, apply TPM. For software, SAMM, CLASP are some methodologies of software development that will consider privacy embedded into the design. Full functionality, conflicts to be resolved, ease access versus security access, user convenience versus security, simple to implement versus safe to use. So those conflicts would be the ones that you would have to take care applying full functionality. End-to-end security requires a security strategy that addresses the company as a whole. Visibility and transparency can be achieved by open statements, external evaluation and validations, such as ISO 27001 auditing, and some other like NIST frameworks. Respect for user privacy. It's necessary to strike a balance between the protection of the company data and the rights of the data subject. So those are some of the challenges that you will face. And it goes on and on. It needs to be part of the vision and the mission of the organization. And being part of the mission of the organization, you will apply privacy by design in every product and service, and implement the 7 principles, and then manage privacy because it makes part of the vision and the mission of the company. So that's pretty much what we want to talk about today. Once again, we would like to invite you to follow our social media, LinkedIn and Instagram and Telegram are increasing the number of follows, because we've been sharing great content through Instagram and Telegram. So You can share with your colleagues and friends who are interested in getting data privacy content. We would appreciate if you could do that. And for those who have been asking us when we'll be able to have a new data privacy class, keep following us. In few weeks we are going to be ready to have you as new students for our data protection online course. For those who don't know, Get Global International is an ICSIN official partner. So we are an official training partner for ICSIN certification, the DPO certification. So we are gonna, in few weeks, be open to have new students on 2 of the 3 certifications that ICSIN requires you to have to recognize you as a certified data protection officer. The course will cover the foundation certification and information security in one online course. So keep following us, keep making part of our data protection classes every Monday, 1 p.m. Okay, let me see if you guys have any question for me. Let me see. Okay. Is that ISO part of ISO 27? Yes. Every time that we talk about privacy by design, we should take into consideration ISO 27001, but also nowadays ISO 27701. It's the new ISO on security and privacy. But you can also consider the NIST to privacy framework. That would also work perfectly. One more question here. Are these principles based on those by Anne Kalvakian? Yes, definitely. Actually, she has given an interview for Punet, and I'm going to be the next one. My episode will be published probably next month, and it was a great conversation between me and Punet. I spoke a lot about being a global data privacy professional, on how you guys can have an international career on data privacy. So keep tuned. Hi, your slides are okay. I can't see details. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tina. But I'll see with my team if we can share the slide. And every time that we share content, we do that through our Telegram channel. So I would recommend you to be part of our group. By doing that, you have access to great content. The last content that we shared with you guys was a Gantt graphic that shows a data protection, a data privacy management program step by step. That's great content. So I would definitely recommend you to be part of our Telegram group, and I'll see with them if they can share this presentation with you guys through our Telegram group. Okay. Okay. Example of principle number 4, end-to-end security, is WhatsApp measuring application. Yes, that's a great example, Sandeep. That's definitely the principle end-to-end security. Okay, of course, it helps you with the privacy, but there is a different principle. That's the audit. Be transparent. So we also need to balance the two principles. because I can have end-to-end security, but if I'm not able to audit, I don't see transparency in the application, that means that this other principle is not being applied. Okay? Very good, guys. If you guys don't have any other questions, um, could you share your Telegram group link? I'll see if my team can do that right away. But if they don't have the link right away, what you can do, go to our YouTube channel that I would also recommend you to subscribe. Just type Get Global International USA, because Get Global International also has operations in other parts of the world. So if you don't put -USA, you might get into the Get Global International in Brazil, for example, and that's in Portuguese. So just search for Get Global International USA on YouTube. You're going to find our YouTube channel, subscribe, and in every video, every class that you will have access, you're going to have access to previous classes that we had. On the description of any video, there are all links that you need, and one of them is the Telegram group. Okay, so that would be the best thing for you to do right away, and then you will find the link to our Telegram group. Okay, so guys, so again, for every and any one of you who have been asking us about our data privacy online class that would prepare you to be a DPO, and would prepare you to take the DPO certification exam in just few weeks. We are going to be able to take more students who want to take our data protection online class, the foundation and information security. 2 out of the 3 certifications that you need to have the ICSIN DPO certification. Okay, and data privacy is becoming bigger and bigger everywhere in different parts of the world. So don't waste time. Become a data privacy professional. Get Global is here to help you anyhow. But definitely, certification is something very important. It's something that will make the market see you as someone who is capable of playing the DPO's role. So don't waste time. Enroll in, be part of our program. Take your foundation certification, your information security certification. You're gonna you will have to only worry about one last certification, the practitioner certification. We are going to open one online class for the practitioner certification, but that's going to be online but live. It's not on demand. So for those who have never taken any course for the foundation and information security, enroll in and take our data privacy online classes on demand. On demand is good because it's at your convenience, but just don't waste time. Okay. Okay, guys. So once again, thanks for being part of this live of this data privacy online class. Next Monday, 1 p.m., we're gonna be back. Probably there will be 2 of our instructors here with you. Maybe it's going to be me and Punet, and we are going to be together talking about one data privacy subject. There is one question: is DPO certification is accredited or affiliated, or how this recognized international? Very good question. There is an independent certified, an European independent certifier called ICSIN. ICSIM is one of the most well-known, internationally well-known IT certifier. And we are an official ICSIM trainer partner. So our DPO course will will prepare you to take, if you want, because it's an independent certification, you can take the ICSIM certifications. The ICSIM certification works like this. You need to get 3 certification, and once you get these 3 certification, automatically you are going to get your DPO certification from ICSIM. The 3 certifications are the foundation certification, the information security certification, and the practitioner certification. We have 2 online classes, the on-demand and live. On-demand, you are going to take 2 courses in one course. It's the foundation and information security on-demand. The foundation will prepare you on all legal aspect of the GDPR. And ICSIM is going to ask you about the GDPR. Get Global has added some more content because for us, our slogan is data privacy nowadays is global. So you will only not have classes on the GDPR, but also on the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, and the Brazilian LGPD. ICSIM is not going to ask you about the CCPA or LGPD, but we have added some more content. Information security. ICSIM is going to ask you about ISO 27001, but we have added 8 hours of content on ISO 27701, the new ISO on information security and privacy. Okay? Yes, is that ICSIM? Yes, ICSIM is the name of the independent certifier. So if you enroll in for our program, our on-demand program that we are going to open in few weeks, you are going to be able to take the 2 certifications, if you will. Okay? Well, once again, thank you very much, guys, for attending this data privacy class. See you next Monday. Take care.